Have you ever stopped to notice just how soft we've become? We complain when the coffee's too cold, we panic when the Wi-Fi cuts out, and the slightest discomfort, a cold morning, a late reply, a skipped meal suddenly feels like a personal attack. But here's the paradox. The more we avoid discomfort, the weaker we become. Somewhere along the way, comfort became the default. And with it, we lost something essential: our mental edge, our quiet strength, our ability to endure. Now imagine two people. Both face the same storm. One panics, the other stays still, calm, unshaken. What's the difference? It's not luck, it's training, voluntary hardship. The ancient Stoics knew this long before we did. In today's world, comfort is no longer a luxury. It's a baseline. Air conditioning at every step, food delivered in minutes, constant entertainment in our pockets. We rarely have to wait, rarely have to try, and rarely have to feel anything unpleasant. And that is precisely the problem. We've been conditioned to believe that the absence of hardship is the same thing as happiness, that if life feels uncomfortable, something must be wrong. But the truth is, a life without challenge breeds a mind without strength. What we call anxiety, overthinking, or emotional burnout often stems not from having too much stress, but from never having built the capacity to carry any. Like a muscle that's never been used, our resilience withers from disuse. And here's the biggest misunderstanding. People believe they'll become stronger once life becomes easier, that once things calm down, they'll finally have the energy to grow. But the Stoics flipped that logic on its head. They didn't wait for ease, they trained for difficulty. They practiced being uncomfortably on purpose, so that when real hardship arrived, they didn't collapse. They endured, and more than that, they thrived. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher-emperor, once wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." To the Stoics, hardship wasn't an interruption, it was the training ground. Every obstacle was a lesson, every discomfort a test of the soul, and every pain an invitation to grow. Seneca, another great Stoic, didn't just write about strength, he lived it. Once a month, he would deliberately eat the cheapest, roughest food, sleep on the floor, wear tattered clothes. He'd whisper to himself, "Is this what I feared?" What he was doing wasn't self-torture, it was self-liberation. By experiencing voluntary poverty, he broke the illusion that comfort equals safety. He trained his mind to remain calm, even when stripped of everything. Then there was Epictetus, born a slave, crippled from youth. He taught that external hardship doesn't define you, it reveals you. "Difficulties show what men are," he said. "Therefore, when trouble comes, remember, you are being tested, you are being forged." To them, the question was never, "How do I avoid pain?" but, "How do I meet it with dignity?" Because, to a Stoic, resilience isn't built in theory, it's built in practice, in cold water, in silence, in hunger, in rejection, in the quiet, voluntary moments when we step toward difficulty, not away from it. That is the Stoic way. Not to chase pain for its own sake, but to embrace discomfort as the gym where inner strength is built. The stronger the mind, the less fragile the life. So what do we do with this? We stop waiting for life to toughen us up. We stop hoping for an easier path, and instead we begin training. Not with grand, dramatic acts of suffering, but with simple, deliberate practices, with chosen discomfort, with small moments of voluntary hardship that slowly, silently rebuild our mind from the inside out. If the Stoics were alive today, they wouldn't just write about resilience, they'd build it every single day. And now, so can you. Here's how. 3 steps. Simple but not easy. These are your Stoic workouts, not for the body, but for the mind. The first step: choose discomfort deliberately every single day. You don't need to climb mountains or sleep in caves, but you do need to break the pattern of constant comfort. That might mean a cold shower at 6 a.m., not because it's trendy, but because it sharpens your edge. It teaches your nervous system to stay calm in chaos. Or maybe it means skipping your phone during breakfast, forcing yourself to sit in silence, feel boredom, and listen to your thoughts instead of escaping them. It could be fasting for a few hours longer than usual, taking the stairs when you're exhausted, saying no to a craving just to remind yourself that you're in control, not the craving. Every time you step into discomfort and purpose, you are rewiring your mind. You're building the kind of self-trust that says, "I can do hard things." And that, more than any motivational quote, is what real confidence is built on. The second step: observe your hardship without complaint, without judgment. The Stoics didn't pretend discomfort wasn't real. They simply refused to be ruled by it. When Seneca lay on a hard floor, he didn't curse it. He studied it. He breathed through it. He asked, "Is this truly unbearable, or have I just never faced it before?" Modern psychology calls this cognitive reframing. It means noticing the discomfort, but not labeling it as bad. Cold is just cold. Hunger is just sensation. Boredom is just space. The suffering begins when we start storytelling, when we say, "This is too much," or "I hate this," or "Why am I even doing this?" Next time you're facing something hard, pause. Breathe. Say nothing. Just feel. The moment you stop resisting, you start strengthening. And finally, the third step: build a rhythm of strategic hardship into your life. Not randomly, not recklessly, but with intention. Just like a bodybuilder doesn't lift the heaviest weight on day one, you don't need to push yourself to extremes right away. You just need consistency. Pick 1 or 2 days a week and call them your resilience days. Wake up earlier, cut out the sugar, meditate twice as long, embrace silence, eat something bland, and be grateful. Go for a long walk without music, just you, your breath, and your thoughts. These aren't punishments, they're practice, reps for the soul. And after each of these days, reflect. Write one line in a journal. What did I learn about myself today? Because the point isn't just to endure, it's to discover, to grow, to meet parts of yourself you didn't know existed. These moments of voluntary hardship may seem small, but added up over weeks and months, they change your wiring. They give you that quiet, unshakable strength that the Stoics lived by. The kind of strength that doesn't shout, but simply is. Let me tell you a story. There was a man who wasn't supposed to make it. He grew up in poverty, abused, ignored, overweight, illiterate. He could barely run a quarter mile without collapsing. By every measure of the modern world, he was broken. But his name is now known around the world, not for what he was, but for what he chose to become. His name is David Goggins. He wasn't born with grit. He built it with hardship, voluntary hardship. He ran on broken legs. He trained in freezing rain. He forced himself into silence, hunger, pain, and isolation, not because he enjoyed it, but because he understood something most people never do, that the strongest version of you lives on the other side of suffering. Goggins became the Navy SEAL they told him he'd never be. He became an ultra-endurance athlete. But more importantly, he became unbreakable, no, physically, but mentally. And here's what's wild. He didn't become that version of himself because life got easier. He became that man because he stopped running from pain and started using it. Of course, not all of us are meant to run 100-mile races or train like a SEAL. That's not the point. The point is this: everyone has their own version of voluntary hardship, and everyone has a weaker version of themselves that must die for a stronger one to be born. Your challenge might be smaller. Maybe it's getting up when your alarm rings, even when your body screams no. Maybe it's saying, "I'll try," instead of, "I can't." Maybe it's skipping one indulgence, or walking through one uncomfortable conversation, or sitting through one awkward silence without running, numbing, or explaining. These are the quiet battles, the invisible workouts. And when done with intention, they begin to rewire you. You go from being reactive to being grounded, from being anxious to being still, from being fragile to being forged. That's what David Goggins discovered. That's what the Stoics practiced, and that's what you're capable of too. So here's what you need to remember. Resilience isn't something you wait for, it's something you build. And not through comfort, but through the discomfort you choose. Voluntary hardship isn't about proving something to others. It's about proving something to yourself. That you can step into resistance and not flinch. That you can embrace discipline and not crumble. That when the world pushes you to the edge, you won't break. You'll rise. The Stoics didn't chase pain for glory. They trained with hardship to earn peace. Because real peace-lasting peace doesn't come from avoiding difficulty. It comes from mastering your response to it. So here's your challenge. Today, choose one discomfort. Just one. Skip the sugar. Turn off your phone. Take the cold shower. Walk without headphones. Sit with your boredom. Whatever it is, do it on purpose. And when it feels hard, don't run. Breathe. Notice. And remind yourself, this is the workout. This is the training. Then, tonight, write down what you learned. Not what hurt, but what grew. Because that's what matters. If this video spoke to you, if it stirred something in you that wants to grow stronger, subscribe. Leave a comment below with the hardship you're choosing today. And most importantly, share this with someone who's ready to stop avoiding life and start embracing it. This isn't just philosophy, this is training for the soul. And your next rep starts now.